Hello. Wow, that was a weird hello. That was a weird introduction. Anyways, welcome to my second podcast episode. Oh, let me get comfortable here. Okay. Oop. The microphone went away. All right. I almost got the microphone stand to work, but here we are. Excuse me, still not with the stand, with the microphone on the stand. Ooh, now you saw what I'm about to talk about if you were watching the video. Anyways, so I already started this episode once, and then I started on a very long tangent, an hour-long tangent that was just so stupid and wasteful. I wasn't going to waste your time. If you want to see that, you can check out my YouTube video. Whenever I posted, it's basically, I hate even saying this, but it's ranking Taylor Swift songs and albums, or the songs in each album based on what I like, because a lot of times I hear very opposing opinions and I'm like, how are we hearing the same thing? And also it was all the blah blah. Oh my gosh, my brain's a bit dying. It was also considering how relatable things were to me, because I think a lot of the times it's whatever it was relatable. Her debut and her early albums were not relatable at all to me. Lover, Reputation were the most relatable to me. And then Folklore, Evermore were just kind of cool, but they weren't like amazing. But they did have Exile, which I will say it's one of the best songs ever by any artist. One of the best, not the best. But yeah, so you can check that out if you're a Taylor Swift fan and you want to hear those different opinions. Some are the same opinions, etc. But we are not talking about that today. But that came up because I was scrolling through YouTube. I wasn't scrolling. One of the first things I saw on YouTube this morning when I opened YouTube app was Taylor Swift's reaction to, is it Joy Coy? His Golden Globes, what do you call it? Monologue. Oh my gosh, my brain. Before we get into that, I'm going to make a quick rundown of what I envisioned this episode to be about. Let me take a sip of water, which means let me chew my water a little bit. Yep. There was a day recently where the water just flowed into my throat instead of me chewing it on the way. It was an interesting time. But today's not the day. I am kind of anxious, sitting so much and doing this, and I know it's not perfect. And talking, when I used to vlog, I would just be so on, and on is kind of even what I'm doing now, even though now it's a little bit more relaxed, but very nasally and just very like, don't really breathe while I'm talking, and just very on and not very calm and more soft spoken. Okay, that was like really strange going from one place to the other, but anyways, and I feel like I'm somewhere in between. I can be both, not so much the like quieter version. But what are we talking about today? We're already 4 minutes in, 3 minutes in, something in. We are talking about the Taylor Swift Golden Globes, not just Taylor Swift, but Golden Globes monologue, and some of the reactions that I saw and my reactions to the reactions. And then 90 Day Fiance is going to take over for today's episode. 90 Day Fiance, The Single Life, and 90 Day Fiance, 90 Day Fiance. Because I want to talk about the other way another day, and that has a lot going on, and it would be too much for this. The other thing is Towie and Made in Chelsea, as I mentioned in this episode that I am not going to air on here. But I love The Only Way is Essex and Made in Chelsea. I think I like Taui more because it's brighter, more colorful, better, nicer. Me and Chelsea is very gray and mood too. There's a lot. See, Tawi people fight, but they fight, and it's just like happier in a way. Made in Chelsea is just like aggression fighting. I don't know. But that's like just they're kind of the same and not, whatever. But since I'm not in England, so I don't know when the season start and end, and I have a hard time watching them because I'm not in England. That might be another whole other month or however long. But just wanted to mention that. But today we're going to talk about the Golden Globes to begin with. That's going to be probably the shorter of the two because 90 days, there's two of them. There's a lot of couples and a lot to say. But Golden Globes. Okay. And the reason that I went into the whole tangent of Taylor Swift albums is because that was how it came on my feed was because YouTube knows I like Taylor Swift. Sorry about all the ums. It was about her reaction to a joke that was made by this guy that I don't know. I don't know a lot of people, so this is not meant to be offensive to him. I don't know a lot of people lately because I've been under a rock. 2016 was the last time I was really in the world, really, like not just, news, but also social culture and trends and people and music and movies and shows and all that stuff. So, yeah, I don't mean anything bad when I say I don't know who he is. And I believe his name is Joy Coy. Right? And I'll pull this up because I'll pull my iPad on. What am I saying? Because I want to say something about, Joe Coy. I want to say about Taylor Swift fans comment. I want to say a lot of things about that. But yeah, so he made the joke that basically Aru sure Chukulutu Dieta Hai vino. Sorry, an intermission by the feathered friend Aru, who has her cage door open, but she insists on I don't know, attacking the bars for some reason. Anyways, so he made the comment that the only difference between the NFL and the Golden Globes is that the camera is less on Taylor Swift at the Golden Globes, and the cameras turned to her, and she was not just not amused, but she was like honestly upset, angry, and like, oh, that's such a bad taste joke. I don't even know how to say what I want to say, but my reaction was out loud to me and my iPad. Come on. Please. This wasn't a feminist joke. This wasn't any type of joke that I could say, okay, yeah, you have some sort of right to, choose to not be amused by that. This was literally nothing. And you act and react like it was such a terrible thing for this guy to say. And there was someone, it wasn't in this one, but someone else said something like, her boyfriend, oh my gosh, was saying something along the lines, excuse me for not paying attention to a nobody saying something about somebody. Someone who's a somebody or something. He didn't say it that way, but I probably said it better. Anyways, first of all, so many things to say. It just gets under my skin. And maybe I'll make more sense once I talk about other people's reactions. But I'll try my best to kind of say something about this. I think that she got triggered but it was a personal trigger. It wasn't a bad taste of a joke. That joke was not in bad taste. It was not, Will Smith slapping worthy. Not to make fun of that, not to make light of that, because that was also just an overreaction. And again, but that, that was like a joke that was not just personal, but it was about health, excuse me, about health or about feminism, about, so many things. But this was just I mean, it is a fact. So I had my journey with Taylor Swift through this year, which was interesting because I started out, if you would ask my boyfriend, he would say that I'm a Taylor Swift fan and I talk about her. I managed to include her in any conversation. That was the beginning of 2023 me. That was most of the year 2023 me, excuse me. And then if you see a tail on the screen, yep, there you go. I was on the camera. But closer to December and now in January, I just kind of the bubble broke. I still love the songwriting, a lot of the songwriting. Check out the other video to see, what songwriting I like more than others. But I like the songwriting. I think she is a really amazing songwriter. She's definitely an amazing artist. And artist, I mean also in the sense of business person, because she is not as rich as she is and as popular as she is just because she's good at songwriting. Because I'm telling you, I have like Darren Hayes and Ryan Starr. There are people who are amazing songwriters. They are not as rich and not as popular as she is. And so it's not just because she's good, but she's also not, only, conniving or whatever. I know that's going to get a lot of backlash. And again, see the other video when I talk about Mad Woman and how I feel about that stuff, to kind of see the balance and hear my words for what they are. But yeah, there is a manipulation is what I'm saying. To be that rich and to be that successful and that popular, it's not just how good you are, but it's also how you use that and how you use people to get to that point. But that's not the same as she has no talent and she's just, it's just about using or whatever. Oh my gosh, the battery's going to die on the camera. Ugh. Anyways, we'll be back with the iPhone camera again. But so there's that. Either way, this is kind of deviating from the topic. It was just kind of honestly disgusting to me. Aru. She just like I'm sorry, it just took over the camera. It was honestly disgusting. And I know that's a big word, but at this point, because I don't see her as a woman, I don't see her as like this marginalized person anymore. When I'm saying that, I'm saying this is a very privileged person, an extremely privileged person. And for her to have that face when someone's making a joke about how often the camera is on her at one place versus the other, excuse me. You have no right to make that face. I'm sorry. You do have a right. You have a right to do whatever you want. But it is so absurd. And it is something that, I'm sorry about the parakeet in the video. It is just like you have to get your own triggers in check. If there was something that was like valid, like I said, was the comment Chris Rock made about Jada Pinkett Smith. It was a lot of comments that have been made about Taylor Swift, a lot of jokes that have been made about her that were very legit reasons to have that face that she had on her. And not this. The reaction was completely disproportionate and really insulting to others and other things that were truly insulting to be said. And yeah, kind of like the Barbie comment. in the Barbie jokes in the opening monologue. But I have thoughts about that too that are, both on both sides. I'm really revolted about her reaction, and then what she's teaching her followers, that don't really critically think, because the only thing they know, the only information they have is what she says is good and is not good. And the moral compass they have is created by what she talks about. And, it's like, it's a double-edged sword, because that's a great thing to sort of have the power to expose things to people that, and really be listened to, like, hey, this is going on, this is not good. But the other side of the sword is this stuff, where this is not something that should be offensive. It was just horrible to see. Such a bad example. And I'm sorry. I know her whole life and her whole career. Yeah, she has something to say too. Chizik. Her whole career has been about fighting that concept. But yeah, I don't know. It was a bad example. And she's not above making bad examples. She's not perfect. She's not a god. She's not perfect. She is not anything, anyone, any entity where you cannot criticize her, because she's going to have wrath for you. That is horrible. That is horrible. When you think about like the politics side of things, that's a dictator. That is horrible. But because she's just a singer and just culture, media, etc. entity, and not a leader of a world, of a country, of, a culture, then it's not met with the same criticism. But I think it should, because the people that follow her that blindly, to not be like, ooh, that wasn't, her reaction was in poor taste. It's maybe somewhat equal to the influence that a leader like that of a country would have, or even more damaging, because in those countries oftentimes people think differently, but they're too scared to think differently, and they have to conform. But this way, like, people really take it in and believe and really follow her example. So yeah, and I want to read this thing. So this was, I don't know, some YouTube video about Travis Kelce reacting to Joe Coy's rude joke Taylor Swift, about Taylor Swift, okay, during Golden Globes. So before I read this, I also want to talk about Travis Kelce's very poor defending of his woman, of his girlfriend, of his partner, of his lover, whatever. That was just such poor taste as well. And I also thought they're both petty, aren't they? They both match really well in that. And because there's a way that you can defend your person, your partner, the love of your life. I don't know if he says that yet to her or about her, but it shouldn't be necessarily right now, but because it's really early, but still, either way, like, there's a way to do that with class. And when I mean class, I mean intelligence. I don't mean class in the sense of classism. I know that has such bad connotations. I'm Romanian. Words I use sometimes are words that I was taught the way that I was taught them, and it's probably I need to learn and do better with that. That is what came to mind. But yeah, intelligence. Like, when you see people who are truly healed, they're truly in control, they're truly intelligent and making change and what do I want to say? Like when you think of monks or something, but not only monks, people can respond very powerfully, but not stupidly. I don't know how else to say. His response was just horrible. It was a horrible example. And I want people, Taylor Swift fans that I know, that I watch, that are not just, oh my gosh, everything she says is perfect. I want them to speak about this because they'll probably speak about it better. I don't know. No. She eats my laptop thing. We're very, very all over the place today, aren't we? It was just a terrible example. That is not defending your woman. That's really embarrassing her, honestly. Now, the other part is this comment. I don't know who made it. They blurred it out. Doesn't matter who made it. Taylor handled that joke like the queen she is. Actually, no. A queen would have not handled it that way. A queen would have handled it like Margot Robbie. A queen would have handled it like even like Meryl Streep, but maybe that was a little too extreme. But Margot Robbie, perfect example of how you handle this stuff. That is how a queen handles these jokes. And she had, jokes to her in much worse taste than this. Jo Koy's joke was in poor taste, and it's disappointing to see such negativity. No, it's not. He's a comedian. Have you been to comedians? It wasn't Whoopi Goldberg, but on The View, because that was one of the videos I watched, one of the other women was saying, we need to get a sense of humor. We're losing the sense of humor and the camera right now because the temperature got too much for it. Hold on. She's like a little dolphin. Okay, hold on. Pause. Let me put the camera. Okay. There we go. All right. So, my shoulder, my right shoulder, and my right hip now that I've been sitting for so long. So, where was I? Oh, yeah, on The View. Yeah, the sense of humor comment. We do. I will say that, coming from Romania, coming here, I had a sense of humor, some would say. I remember judging and criticizing Americans for this thing of being offended. It was just being offended means you have issues you're not dealing with, but expecting the world to change for you kind of thing. It's funny because my boyfriend would hear me say that and be like, are you taking your own advice, Arina? I don't think so. He would say much nicer than that though, but it's true. And I am, and I have been lately on the other side. I have gotten offended in the recent years about everything. And with my family, there's a lot of things that offend me or that I feel they are ignorant. They're saying in ignorance, and I get offended and I have the same reactions and all that stuff. I don't think it's right, and I don't feel like I'm doing that as an intelligent side of me. I think the unintelligent side of me is reacting. It's a reaction. It's not a response. What is that? And so I know I'm not doing good enough. I know I'm not doing what I should do. I know I'm not I'm not reacting from the best of me. And so there's a difference between that and just thinking, oh, she reacted, she handled that like the queen she is. No, she didn't. When you're reacting with such negativity and overproportionate negativity from a joke that was a joke, we do need to have a sense of what's a joke and what's not a joke. Do you think Obama would have reacted that way? No, he would not. He would have reacted like Margot Robbie. There's a trend with Bradley Cooper also reacted the same kind of way like Margot Robbie. There's a trend of people who you can make change. I mean, Margot Robbie is kind of the reason that Barbie movie was made. And that was huge for feminism, for the culture at large. It was a huge movement for change. And you can do that when you're doing what Taylor Swift is. That is just personal attacks and personal triggers, and it's not for the better of the world and for people to be better served or looked at or have a better life. I don't know. That probably didn't make sense too much. It made more sense in my head. Back to this quote, Taylor's grace and resilience shine through, and she continues to rise above it all. None of that is true. We love you, Taylor. She didn't have grace, she didn't have resilience, and she didn't rise above it all. Literally, she did the opposite of those three. Grace is not to death glare someone who made a simple joke that wasn't anti-feminism, that wasn't, something that was like attacking your health, your gender, your sexual orientation, your skin color, your all these things that are truly deserving of that death glare, of that disapproval. That was not grace. That was not resilience. That was not rising above it all. Now, to contrast to these other jokes and these other people, he made this joke about Oppenheimer and then leading into Barbie. I haven't seen Oppenheimer, and it was interesting to see everyone's reaction. There was some Taylors and some Margos. And I know that comparison itself is wrong to the culture today, and it's not quite gotten. But anyways, I should say there were some Ryans and some Margos, because Ryan Gosling also reacted like Taylor Swift, which was stupid. And Margot Robbie, I keep mentioning her, but she, to me, and seeing how involved she was in not just like making the movie, but making sure that it was made, and the idea, like, oh gosh, and she has what do you call that, a production house or whatever, like those things. That's a queen. That's resilience. That's grace. That's rising above it all and making change and focusing on making change and making positive change rather than just anger and personalizing. But yeah, so the Barbie joke, I don't remember what it was. Something about like plastic boobs, whatever. And then how like, sorry, don't think of me as a creep. This Joe Coy guy was saying, sorry, don't think of me as a creep. I don't have the joke exactly. But it was weird to be turned on by a plastic doll or something like that. And then he said, it's such a comedian thing, to like think you're going this way, but you're actually going that way. It's something about your eyes, Ryan. And the camera went to Ryan Gosling, and it was like, he was not amused by that either. I was like, oh my gosh, get over yourself. What are you, like, that was, the initial joke was not a great joke. It was sexist and all that stuff, and it was not fun. But chukuluk. Sorry, we have some technical difficulties here with poops on our paws and things. Parakeets don't have paws. But you know what I mean. Oh, there you go. Sorry. I don't want it to be squished into my new ow, Aru. She has not. This is the first day she's like really like biting me. I don't know why. Okay, anyways, back to this. Sorry. So, that wasn't a great joke. To that, Taylor, you can have the face that you had. To I'm not gonna say it again. Anyways, and then it said, the joke was like, it's not all about you, Margot, right after that. And Margot was like laughing because she took it. She knows that's not a good taste. That's not a good joke. She knows the, sexism behind that joke. She knows, like, just we need to, evolve beyond that. but that's not the right time, and that's not the right way to do it. You just make people uncomfortable, and it's not really a learning. It's just like, ooh, that doesn't feel good how this person is looking at the camera, or this, comedian, and it just makes you uncomfortable. It almost kind of has the counter effect. But either way, I stand by intelligent people have a sense of humor. Intelligent people are not offended. They know how to handle situations like queens and kings. And there's, even something to that analogy. I've been watching The Crown, and think whatever you think. I don't know what to think about, royalty in general. Every episode, I think differently. Every episode, I'm pro or against the queen, as she's portrayed there. And yeah, every episode is different, which is also pretty cool when you think about it, and a pretty honest kind of thing. Look at life and people, and no one's perfect, and a queen isn't perfect either. But the queen, the things that I've seen is, the way that she's portrayed in this movie, at least, really taking things with grace. She would get offended. She would get hurt. She would get offended personally. Like, they say that about me, and she would get even petty in a way, but she would do it very gracefully. And I would say this is not a feminine trait only. My boyfriend is like that. He is not feminine in it at all. And maybe the words that I use are more feminine sounding, like grace. That's what this person wrote. But it's really, I am inspired by him a lot in how he handles things that he does not like to hear, or doesn't like about the world, or that I would like blow up over, or at least I would give that death glare over. But I love how he handles things, and I love how much more productive that is, the way that he handles things. And so the same thing with Margot. Like, I don't know. I'm not an expert on words. Actually, he is. He did communications as a major, and he also uses a lot of words. I used to be much better at English and words and everything, and now lately it's just been hard. But yeah, to also bring in Bradley Cooper, I don't remember. It was some joke about it wasn't also a good taste joke. Look that up. I don't want to say it on this podcast because I haven't decided what, level of maturity level I want the podcast to have as far as like language and things. But yeah, look up that if you really want to, if you're really interested. But he handled it the same way as Margot did, with like a laugh. You gotta laugh. If you're not laughing at yourself, and you're not laughing at jokes, and you're not laughing at the world and bad stuff, you're losing. It reminds me of something that I heard from Russell Brand, that apparently heard it from a monk. And he was talking about even darker things like death. And he was saying, like, if you're not, going to laugh about you having like a certain illness or something, then that illness won. And he said it perfectly. I really wish I could remember and have written down exactly what he was saying, because it just sounded so much better and so much to the point than I can say. But it's kind of like that. Being on both sides of being offended and just being offended is just stupid. Being on both of those sides, I can say that I stand by, when you're offended and when you're reacting to being offended. Because offended, I don't mean you realize something is wrong. That is something else. Being offended is like you are triggered and you also react in a triggered way. You are not in the best part of you. You are not in the best part of humanity. And you are not going to make good change, positive change. You are not in the positive. You are not in the positive vibrations. However you want to look at it, you are not there. Margot Robbie was, Bradley Cooper was, Meryl Streep was, and oh my gosh, Meryl Streep, talk about a bad joke. That, oh, I probably no one would have, or very few would have handled it like she did. Because she just like handled it in stride and just went with it. She's, I think, like a good example that we have had in our class, in our Meisner class, as a Meisner actor or whatever. Like, she's really herself in every role, but in the role completely. And yeah, I mean, she carried that through at that awkward exchange, because Joe Coy was saying something about how like she could do it was like kind of a smart joke, but ooh, it was on the line. I don't know if it crossed the line. It felt like it did cross the line to me. But saying that like even or especially he thought she was her best, like she's the best in every role that she plays, but especially when she did that part of like Wakanda Forever or whatever, and like the cross, she's like, and he's like, cross your arms and say that, and she did. So that is handling it with grace. You're put on the spot, and there's like multiple ways you could handle that, not just like go with it. That's how she chose to do it, and that's also reasonable. There's also saying respectfully, but not respectfully from that passive aggressive state, but respectfully with true respect and love and understanding and intelligence, to where you're saying that's not appropriate. I'm not gonna do that. But I think like it's again, it's the, I don't know. I respect her for doing what she did, even though she was put in a very, very tight spot with that. That was really awkward. Anyways, we are now going to switch gears, and we're going to talk about the 90-day fiance stuff. Before that, here's an intermission. We're going to slow down. Aru's hunched over. I wish I could show you, but if I move anything, she's going to wake up, but she's falling asleep for a second. She's taking a nap. As the intermission, I'm going to try to lower my voice. What time is it? Oh my gosh. I need to go eat soon. I cannot wait to go eat. But I was watching a podcast, Jay Shetty and this doctor that founded Next Health, I think. I got some good tips from that. And I also got this probiotic, prebiotic protein powder. That's a lot of P's, and I'm not good with them. Especially with the P and R situation. R's in general in English, I struggle with. Anyways, and I made it. I'm scared to taste it. So I want to taste it on the air. I'm scared to taste it because I've never had a good experience with protein powder. Usually they have sugar substitutes, and I wish so much that they would just omit sugar altogether, so you can put your own, if you want to put real sugar, if you want to put sugar substitutes, that should be your choice. Because I'll tell you that stevia, for me, it does not agree with my tummy, and I don't agree with it as far as taste. It makes me actually nauseous just thinking about it. But anyways, I'm hungry, so a protein shake is not what I want to eat right now. Whenever I eat or drink or do anything sweet when I'm hungry, it just creates more nausea. But I want to try this, and I've been trying to try this. But here's intermission. Wish me luck. Oh my gosh. So it wasn't bad at first, but then the aftertaste, it doesn't have stevia as far as I know. I know I pronounced it differently this time, but it tastes like that. It's so gross. It's so gross. So gross. All right. I'm going to drink my water and then look forward to my lasagna. Fun fact about the lasagna too. It doesn't have any wheat because I didn't have any lasagna sheets. The only lasagna sheets I had was Palm Hearts lasagna sheets. And I will tell you, it does some of them have more of a taste than the others, but you really cannot tell that it's not wheat lasagna sheets. I also had their pasta, I think, the same thing. So I would recommend that for anyone who cannot do the chickpea pasta and all the others. Try, what do you call those? Wannabes as far as pasta is concerned. So, yeah. All right. Man, that was a horrible experience. Horrible. I'm so sad about that because I was excited. I was really excited, thinking that it was going to be good, but it wasn't. All right. Anyways, all right. So why do I keep saying all right? 90 Day Fiance. I want to talk louder, more loudly. Yes. But now I'm stuck with this tone of voice and I like it. And then with the headache and all that stuff, it's kind of more conducive. But I feel like it should have some introduction. 90 Day Fiance. The single life. We'll start there. I don't think this will be a long one. We'll see. Tyree. Which is funny because when I excitedly wrote to my boyfriend that he was on this season, and I spelled it so Romanian. I spelled it, I think, half American, like T-I or something, R-E. That's how we say it. So anyways, or T-A-I-R-E. I think that's how I spelled it. Sometimes I've been spelling things much more Romanian because my brain is so tired. It just goes at the default language that it learned. But he had his first date this past episode and he didn't. Spoiler alert. I should have said that beforehand. I got really angry. I wasn't even triggered because relatable. I don't think I ever had that actually happen, but I feel like we all have that in the back of our minds, being scared of that. It wasn't even that. It wasn't that. It was just, this guy is nice, and I don't care if you like him, if you don't like him, if he's not nice, if he's nice, whatever. When you agree to a date, you go to the date, you eat or do whatever, and then you leave. And either say, I don't want to do this again, or say that later if you don't want to, say it face to face and it feels awkward for you. But don't do what this girl did. Because not only did she ghost on him, and it seemed like she, blocked him. Not only that, but she insisted on calling it a date initially. Because he was like, we can just do like a casual hangout. So that is just so wrong. That was horrible to watch. That was wrong. And I'm like, what is wrong with the universe for this guy? He seems like a really nice guy. Now, looks wise, sure, he's overweight and that's not everyone's cup of tea. But again, he does not deserve to be treated the way that he has been, by that scammer person initially, and now this. I think I remember seeing that he eventually does finally get a date. But yeah, that was just brutal to watch, and I hate it. That lady, it doesn't matter, but she completely fell in my eyes. But yeah, so he's on the season, and he went on his first date, but he didn't. I'll say something though. It was so innocent and sweet, his take on the flowers that he got, but so innocent and sweet, meaning also a sprinkle of ignorance. Because those flowers, they were colored with artificial coloring, and that is not pretty. But in the US, I think it is because they are everywhere. But oh my gosh, if a guy would give that to me, I would appreciate the sentiment. And I would absolutely appreciate the sentiment considering that guys in the US don't really know about flower giving. Not to the same extent. It is so common in Europe. But I would still kind of judge it a little bit. But again, you can't judge ignorance because they don't know any better, right? They don't know the connotations that you have. But I just wanted to put that out there. If you think of getting someone, especially a first date or whatever, colored flowers, don't get them. Don't get the colored flowers that are, artificially colored. First of all, think of the poor flowers. You're just injecting them with dye. They're being killed anyways, a slow death. At least sacrifice them that part. Thank you. And then the other part is, and I used to be against flowers, and it's so cute because now I want to say his name. I don't want to say my boyfriend, but yeah, we'll go with that for now. But I have developed a desire for flowers and anything romantic with him just because I think I like him, and I don't know, but it awakened in me those things that I was like before. I was like, oh, ew, flowers and romantic mushy stuff, and the flowers like, oh, you're killing plants, and I don't want plants that are being killed because literally they got cut from their root and blah blah. I'd rather you give me a pot of plants and then I kill the potted plants. So I'm like, not even that, please. Spare them from me. And yet now recently I do appreciate the sentiment. It is really nice to feel that. And it's so funny because he's like, something was telling me to get you flowers for your birthday. Was it for my birthday? But then he didn't. And I'm like, well, it probably was me putting that out there. You were hearing my manifestation. You should have listened to the gut, to the hearing. But yeah, I mean, I still appreciate it. It was an interesting birthday weekend that we had. Defeat completely. That's not the personal life is another episode. This is about Tyree and his first date and flowers. Good move on the flowers. Don't change. Do not change. I know that's hard to hear sometimes because I know I've felt that way. And sometimes you do have to change, or you have to like keep an open mind, but ideally don't change. Though you were doing everything good, showing up early, making the reservation at a nice restaurant, nice flowers, all that stuff, or flowers. Don't change. And he does seem so sweet. I hope he finds someone. Yeah. Okay. And sweet is not like an insult because he's overweight. He's really sweet. Like, I wish more guys were like that. If you're like that, no matter how you look, you can be like buff or whatever or not. Hold on to the sweetness. Hold on to the goodness in your heart. Do not get rough. Do not let the world rough you up. And I mean, it's going to rough you up, but don't let it harden you, because there's nothing worse than meeting someone and you're rough, they're rough, they're toughened up, and there's no, this will sound so bad, but there's no penetration of goodness and of love as a result. So yeah, I had to. There's just no better word that I could think of. I'm sorry. Okay. Natalie and Josh. Couple number 2 on the list, not on any rank, but this list. Oh, man. I don't even know where to start. They're both wrong. They're both just crazy. Something about Josh feels fake, or something's behind that. It feels something's off with him. I don't know what it is. I cannot put my finger on it. But something's off with him. One of the things is he makes some plans, or he talks about some things, he promises some things or mentions some things, and he doesn't think them through. Like, yeah, I'll help you find the place. Oh, you might need a guarantor or whatever for lease. Oh, sorry. What did you think, dude? Do you live under a rock? Probably. He's probably, again, another ignorance of not knowing that someone coming here from another country, and she didn't come that far away, but she could have probably built some credit score, some credit. But yeah, like, they don't have credit scores, and yeah, so it just, that felt like he didn't think that through. And then it made me think, well, maybe he thought that he was just helping her as a friend, basically, like, oh yeah, I'll help you because you said you wanted to. But it's not, but then certain things that he said were like, no, like, I'm organizing this, I want you to come here to LA, and I want to help you, and I'll make sure that you get a good place, and you'll find a place, and like, I won't leave you high and dry. Except that he was going to do that because he gave them 1 day to find a place. So either he's ignorant as like an American, non-European, non outside of the US, kind of way, or he's ignorant as far as like privilege, because maybe he's like so rich that he doesn't think these things exist anymore. Maybe he never was poor, but if what who finds an apartment in 1 day? He also found this apartment close to where he lives, so he was thinking, he just seems slow. He was thinking about some things, but like, I don't know, it just, that's why I'm saying something's off. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I can't put my finger on it. Nothing makes sense. So is this for the cameras? I don't know. I know Mike, yeah, he makes a comeback in the episode. I would hope that Mike and Natalie end up together in the long run. I think they are truly a good match. I think they got to the power struggle and they got stuck in that and couldn't get out of it for both of their attachment style reasons and so forth. But yeah, I think they are a good match, and I think Mike is truly a good guy, and good guy in a way that you don't really find much. He helped. I was surprised that he wasn't the one that helped her mom get into the country. But like, he called her right away when when the war happened and all these things. So he is a really good guy, but he has not the best parenting in a very unfortunate situation as far as that, and the mother and the things that she says and the influence that she has, unfortunately. And it's not only that, because he is his own grown person, but that affects you a lot in how you discern on what change you need to make and whatever. But yeah, they just got tangled. And I mean, Natalie's, so I haven't talked about her, but I've talked about these guys. But yeah, like, he's not perfect, but he's a good guy. So I really still hope somehow they find a way to get past the I think the wall that they keep running into. But it is also, so now to kind of switch on to Natalie, because the preview was showing us that she was asking Mike to make a child together. And so Natalie, oh boy, I think Natalie is her own episode. Honestly, she's a mess, but she knows it. And she has some awareness of it, and she makes some sort of, it seems like she tries not to be, but definitely her own worst enemy. And she's just very, I watched a lot of Dr. Kirkanda reacting to this couple, and um I agree, not that I have to agree, like who am I, but I'm on the same thought as Dr. Kirkhanda. As she has a lot of trauma. I don't know what it is. He speculated what it could be, or maybe we heard some things. But she has a lot of trauma, and it's just so sad because she's hurting a lot and she's making bad choices, and she's stuck in this loop of trauma and recreating trauma. And yeah, one thing that I will say that's just questionable, not in a like a weird way, but just like not quite matching, something like that, is what is up with her and kissing and hugging trees. I'm just saying that was really weird, just such a weird thing. And when she was with Mike in the forest or something, okay, that made a tiny bit more sense, but this way it was just weird. I'm not Ukrainian. I don't know though of any superstition regarding trees, like for good luck, kiss a tree for good luck. I don't know. um but yeah, she has, I mean, I'm sorry, but she's a mess. She really is a mess. I also watched Pillow Talk, and Yara was saying, her, comparing Natalie to Yara's toddler. I don't know her age, but how like it doesn't quite make sense. She wants chocolate, but then she doesn't. You give her chocolate and she doesn't, and stuff like that. And I don't really follow that analogy, but the same kind of idea is like she's a mess. She wants something, but then she wants something else, or is all over the place. To me, the worst part is the way she like keeps things with Mike, but then doesn't fully go into them. And again, we don't know the story. We don't know how she tried and what she tried and how he tried and what he tried. Yeah, like we don't know all of that. Maybe they really did try. I don't know. I also know from personal experience, like it can be very complicated. You say you're trying, but it's really not as simple, and it's not quite what you think when people say that, and then we see them months later, and we don't see the process of that. So I'm not sure. It does feel wrong to me. The tell-all or the last season felt very wrong to me, with Josh there and Mike there in the same room side by side, and she was like hugging Mike or whatever and saying all these things. I think she was very honest, which is more than most of us say, because we might think these things or go through and experience these things but not say them, and kind of play more of a game. But she was still quite playing this game in a way. Aru, me. Sorry. But yeah, she was still very much in this kind of game, and it's I don't know where. Yeah, that's kind of better. I don't know. It's just like it made me very uncomfortable with the two of them. Moving on, Veronica and Jamal, new couple period, and new couple this past week. Sorry, Aru, I'm watching her because she's on the lap, on the, I don't know, on the camera, on the phone. She's making trouble. But yeah, Veronica and Jamal, the only thing I have to say about this is to be seen. I have no opinions on them really yet. The one thing that I'll say is very kind of relatable with the communication thing and the frustration and the age difference. They have a lot more of an age difference. They have like a pretty much 9-year age difference than me and my partner do. But I do think about that. I mean, he just made fun of me the other day, like, oh, Rena, 4 years. He didn't sound like that. But I'm like, yeah, but sometimes it is. Sometimes you do. It is a big difference. I am very different than how I was at 34 or 32. Very different. And I didn't know. And I didn't believe people when they would tell me. So that is a challenge. It is not for everyone. Some people mature differently, but from what I've seen so far, is that can come up as a challenge. But yeah, I just enjoyed seeing that, but it felt also very theatrical or forced or put on for the camera. And I think because they kind of know how it goes, but they don't know how it goes because they've themselves not been in 90 days. Like they've been in pillow talk, but all that, is different. And there is some sort of like recreation, especially of like waking up. So I'm curious to see them out and about and like in real dates or life. And then we have Tim. And excuse me, but no one buys that just randomly that girl was there. No one buys that was a coincidence. But I'm curious how that will go. But it bothered me. Even she couldn't keep a straight face when he said, "Oh, what a coincidence!" And even her face was like, "Yeah, sure." Um, that's all I have for that. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I'm very curious. I like Tim and Veronica together. I like their banter. I like their like style and stuff. I feel like they match really well with each other. I'm not sure what doesn't work because I guess I can see it. I guess they do have different needs, but still, I can't imagine someone else with them. But I like Jamal too. He is really hot. He is cute. Okay, Jasmine and Gino. Okay, so now, oh, sorry, one more person in the single life. Chantal. Oh boy, this is another one that deserves her own episode. I am not a fan of Chantal. I used to be. I'm not a fan of who she's becoming. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. One of the things is, does she have like plastic surgery or something? Because her face seems different. Maybe she's just aging or something. Um, it could also be makeup because it's more her eyes. I think she used to wear eyelashes and she doesn't anymore. Um, this is just so vain, but I would like her eyes to be a little bit more defined. It doesn't matter. But she does look different. I believe she works as a nurse for a cosmetics doctor or something. So I think that I have seen her do or like, talk about Botox or something. Don't get that, girl. Don't get that. But I'm pretty sure. I mean, she does look like she has something done. Um, Either way, that's not the problem. That's really not the problem. But she does look different. I just don't like her attitude. First of all, to kind of talk about her initial, like the season with her and Pedro when they were getting divorced, or that season when the divorce started. Um, and I saw just recently a few snippets of the current season, and um, I don't think Pedro used her for the visa. 100%, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. At all. The stuff they both went through and he went through with both his family and her family, no. We've seen someone who did that for the visa with Molly. We've seen how that looks. And, when you get that kind of resentment because you're not actually loving this person, is different than when you have resentment from about someone that you love and loved, but the love is like hidden or gone or whatever because of the resentment. It looks very different. So I don't believe that he didn't and doesn't love her. I don't believe that he used her, all that stuff. But I do believe very much that he, closed off and just bowed out of the relationship, and that is not great. I don't really love that choice, but that's his choice. And I I think it really affected her, but I think my personal opinion and belief is that if her parents and her mom specifically wasn't involved, they would have made it. The crap that her mom says and puts in Chantel's ear is terrible and inaccurate and false and bad. And just bad and negative and just hurtful and damaging to her, to Chantel, to her own daughter. And I mean, the same with, his mom, which is probably, kind of why they got together, because they were two people broken in the same way, reacting differently. But I don't know. I could talk. Oh, that could be its own episode too, but I don't want to put myself through watching any of that again and any more of that. But I saw, to speak just to now to the recent times, I saw a snippet of her going to the Dominican Republic to confront his mom, I think, about sending some chicken feet or some voodoo or whatever. And the way that Chantel spoke to Pedro, again, I understand that she's really hurt, but after so much and after so long, and it's not her fault necessarily, because I believe that in her head, in her ear, she has the same stuff that is just it's there's a reason she's reacting this way, and it's not because of what's in front of her, Pedro, but it's what she hears. Sorry, my throat is like really dry today. Ooh, all right. But that was like really sad and awful to see. I cannot agree with that. No, and also because does she watch the show? Does she watch his side? Because you could see how sincere he is. Like, oh my gosh, what did my mom do again? Like okay, funny, but you shouldn't have done that, because now it's all on me and blah blah blah. I don't know. Anyways, Chantel in Greece. First of all, we just watched. I finally convinced him. I say that very humorly, but I finally convinced him to watch My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I don't think it hit him as it hit us as immigrants from that region of Eastern Europe. Quite the same, but yeah, we watched it and we were talking about the scene where they kept bringing her Greek men and they were all kind of gross or bad looking. And this season so far is like, yeah, that wasn't far from reality, was it? I have not seen a cute, good looking Greek man yet on this whole, island, and from the ones that Chantel met. But that's like such a, whatever. May it be there. But when I hear people like, oh my gosh, yeah, he looks like a Greek god. I love the juxtaposition of like pillow talk. I forget what couple was like, oh yeah, he looks like a Greek god, the soccer player, the football guy. And then the other couple was saying, yeah, he doesn't. He looks like oh no, sorry, the olive oil guy. And the other couple was like, oh, he looks like a bouncer at a nightclub or something, security guard. And yeah, that's a much more accurate description. I feel like he was a plant. I don't think he has anything to do with that olive oil thing. Or if he does, he is like is there an olive oil mafia? There is in Italy, but I don't think that I don't know. But he does. Yeah, he did not look. Neither of them, none of them look like Greek gods. Or maybe they did because they are Greek, but not good looking. Either way, Chantel's behavior and her posse's behavior is just so embarrassing. I'm glad I'm not American, but I am very American because I've been here more than in Romania. But in these moments, I'm like, I'll pull out my Romanian card. Just like when Romanians do something embarrassing, I'm like, oh, America. And I guess I'm glad that I can do that in a way, but I can't because I can't really get away from it. But that was just so embarrassing, and it's very like the twerking is just so embarrassing. How are you not embarrassed? Exactly, Adam. She agrees, or she's offended, like some of the viewers and listeners. Oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing. Talk about not classy. Just breaking out in a twerk at this olive oil thing. It just looked ridiculous. It didn't fit at all. It didn't fit. Maybe it was the editing too, or maybe they were drunk, or maybe I don't know, but it was just messy. It was so messy in a bad way. I it makes me cringe. I don't like watching her segments anymore, honestly. It just makes me cringe. When she was talking about or she was talking to the soccer player guy, and she asked him if he ever has been married, and he's like, no, have you? And she like rolled her eyes, like, yeah. I'm like, are you 12, girl? Are you 12? Isn't she over 20? She is acting like a teenager. Oh my gosh, I'm just like so repulsed by her mannerisms and things. She just seems not bright, you know? But I think the thing with her and her family is that it always seems like it's for the show. It's like acting. So she might be very bright and a very nice person. I've seen like, when I was watching Family Chantal and with her and Pedro, like there are moments before that last season that she was really nice. She was really normal. She's really like, yeah, but I don't know. It's the show. I feel like created a monster out of her. It's just I don't know. But that's again. This is my opinion. This is my point of view. This is my judgment. This is not. It is really truly not meant to insult her, and I don't feel like she's less worth anything, including love, or money or anything. But yeah, that's all I just wanted to say that. That's my reaction to it. That's my honest reaction to her. Okay, so Single Life done. 90 Day Fiance, the regular one. I feel like this should be another one because we're already at over an hour. So I have stuff to say, especially about the whole Nikki and Justin thing. I have some stuff to say about really all of them. Also, where did Nick and Devin go? What was even the drama there? It was just like, what? They just came in and disappeared. Oh my gosh. And the computer stopped recording. Crap. Why did it stop recording? Hello? Why did it stop recording? I don't know when it stopped recording, but here we go. Anyways, well, we're back for the outro. We're back for the finish of this episode 1, official 1, but second recorded. We talked about Taylor Swift. We talked about Golden Globes. We talked a lot about Margot Robbie. Margot was mentioned a lot in that segment. And then we talked about a bunch of other things, including the awkwardness that was with Meryl Streep. Not because of her. She really handled it like a queen, to quote this one erroneous tweet or whatever it was about Taylor Swift, because Taylor Swift did not handle that as a queen at all. Far from it. Peasant. I have to say it. It is so mean. I just had to say it. Maybe I was like a comedian in another life. I would have been a comedian if I would have gone down that road, because I can be vile or vicious or whatever. Yeah. Like I get that sense of humor, and I get, I think it's very Romanian as well to like joke in certain ways where it's very offensive, but it's not at the same time, because at the end of the day, you love that person, and like there's love, and it's really weird to say and all that stuff. But yeah, maybe I'll talk about that another time. We also talked about 90 Day Fiance, the single life. Didn't get to the regular one because this is way too long. I'm learning how long things take me. But yeah, we talked about Tyree and Natalie and Josh and Mike. Can't talk about Natalie without Mike. And Veronica and Jamal and Tim and Chantal and a little bit of Pedro. And Chantal's mom a little bit. And yeah, stay tuned for more of different things. But I also, in terms of 90 day, I have more to come on the regular 90 day. I have thoughts on that and the other way. I feel like I have more thoughts on the other way. Oh my gosh, sorry. I'm just watching this pizza commercial, Domino's. I don't like Domino's. I'm glad no one's sponsoring me right now because I can say, maybe I can say it anyways, but it is gross. It is disgusting. Okay, no, it's not gross and disgusting, but it's bad. It's not a good pizza. Marco's. Used to hate Marco's. Hello. I just had a squirrel moment. Now we're on this tangent of pizza. But yeah, I used to hate Marco's when I was little. I used to love Papa John's. I thought Marco's was just bread and it was just bad. It was probably like what Domino's is now. Pizza Hut, I loved when I was in Romania and it came. I remember the smoking and non-smoking section and the smoke you could see in the smoking, even though it was the same room, but still it was a little better. But yeah, and Pizza Hut is always good because of the greasiness and it's really tasty, but it is very heavy because it has a lot of grease. But Marco's, they changed a bit because they used to be too healthy. They used to have practically no grease and too much bread. And now recently, I think because they also have, different types of, not only the original bready, but thinner or whatever. I think I got hen tossed the last time. I don't remember. It was better. And then the cheese and the mushrooms, I don't know. It was just good. But Domino's, no. I got excited. One of my first, I think the first order in, because I'm like, oh, I'm in my first apartment by myself. Let me order something. And I did Domino's, and that was terrible. And I did wings too. Their wings suck. Oh my gosh, they're bad. Anyways, but the commercial of the pizza was really good. The pizza in the commercial was more like what's the Pizza Hut? Yeah. I was going to say hot pizza. So yeah, we talked about those things. We're going to talk more about the other way, Sarper and whatever her name is, Shekinah. I don't know why I don't like her name. I think my Romanianness, it sounds not like an insult, but like a bad word or like, I don't know. Her name. But yeah, like, oh, so much to say about them in so many different ways. And yeah, stay tuned for that. Another way, another day. And then the next episode might be more about life, personal life, goals for 2024, what my diet is like, what I'm changing about it and why I'm changing it, career, where that's at, and making sense of who this person in front of you is or in your ears is, called Arina, or Irina, depending on how you want to pronounce it. To me, it's the same thing, but some people would say they're two different names. It's the same name, just pronounced differently. Yeah. Anyways, have a wonderful day. After a lot of judgment, have a wonderful day and don't judge and differentiate. And peace, love, and compassion. Have that. It's ironic to say after an hour and a half or something of judgment, and you could argue not love, peace, and compassion, and definitely not differentiation, maybe. But yeah, have a wonderful day still. And I'll see you, or I'll hear you, or I'll talk to you actually in another episode. Look at those feet. Arovino. Sus. Chocolate? She's like testing the microphone. Chocolate. No. Okay. Another day. Another time. Anyways. All right. Oh my gosh. I get to eat now. Yeah. Peace, love, and compassion. Bye.